Hello everyone and welcome back. My name's Ashley Bennett, I'm a lecturer in psychology, and this video is going to be showing you how to access journal articles using the University of Bedfordshire's library system. So like the last two videos, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to head over to lrweb.beds.ac.uk, and once we're there, this time there is not really multiple ways you can access journal articles. They're primarily held on the Discover system. The Discover system, as we saw in the ebooks video, is a little bit more complicated than our own catalogue, library catalogue, but it is much more versatile and it can give you a lot more results. And journal articles is one of the main features of Discover that the library catalogue does not have. Now, as you progress through your degree, you will realise that journal articles will become more and more important. Accessing primary research and the information from journal articles is going to give you an increased amount of information compared to textbooks. The research that you read about in journal articles will be able to better direct you to future research for yourselves. It will also help you to write more clearly and concisely about particular experiments and studies that have taken place. It will help you and guide you in terms of how to really write a report yourself and how to form arguments in essays. So let's head on over to Discover, and the way we can do that is we can click on the Discover link. It is also possible to enter search terms into this box and click search. However, if you follow the way that I show you, you're likely to kind of set yourself up for good habits with using Discover, and it means that you'll probably be able to get better results first time. Entering keywords into this search box can result in millions and millions and millions of results, which can be quite overwhelming and quite difficult to filter through. So let's click on the Discover link, and once again, if you're accessing the library from outside of the university like I am now, you may be asked to log in. So just enter in your login details, and there we go, close that. Okay, and this is the same screen that we saw in the last video. In the last video, I didn't go into any great detail, but what I want to do is I want to familiarize you now with this screen. And essentially what we have along the top is a nice red sort of menu bar, if you like. And you can start new searches from here. You can do image search. You can actually look at all of the journals in our catalogue from A to Z. And you can search the catalogues by journal name. You can have a look at the subject guides. That takes you back to the LRWeb website. That takes you to the library catalogue where you can search for books and ebooks, and this gives you some help. So they're just some general links along the top there. Over on the right hand side, what we'll see is we see sign in, folder, preferences, language, and again some more help. Now the reason I want to point this out is because I think it's important that all of you now go ahead, pause this video if you have to, and register an account with Discover. The way you do that is you click sign in, and on the sign in page you'll see the link create a new account. The reason you should do this is because once you have an account and you're logged in, you will be able to save searches, you will be able to add journal articles or books or ebooks to folders inside of Discover. Which means that, let's say you're researching for a particular essay or a particular report, you can have a folder for each of your essays, a folder for each of your reports, and as you're doing your research, your background research of the literature, you can be adding relevant articles, relevant books to different folders. So when you come back later to write your essay or your report or to do your revision, you're going to have a folder there with all that information in there ready. So you do not have an account by default with this. You need to actually create one, and you can use your university email address to create it. I think when you click create new account, it asks for basic information, so I'll show you that now. First name, last name, email, which again you can use your university email, username, password, and sort of standard secret question stuff. So here's a kind of snapshot of the folders section. There are obviously no results in here. I'm not signed in, so you won't be able to see mine. But in here, you'll be able to save articles. You'll be able to create new folders. So, for instance, you could have articles about, I don't know, motivation. And all of those articles about motivation, you can save in that particular folder, so you know they're all there. So you can quickly access them and pull up the relevant information for whatever you're writing at the time. So if we go back to the new search page, I'm just going to click new search at the top, and in the last video all I did was I just typed the keyword personality. We were looking for an ebook on personality. I just typed the keyword in personality. However, I would like you to get into the habit when searching for journal articles of using more complex search terms. So if you just typed in personality and you were looking for a journal article, you've got no hope. In the last video we saw that we had, before I filtered it down for just ebooks, we had something like over 5 million results, and the first page was exclusively books. There wasn't even a journal on there. So when you're looking for journals, you need to be thinking very specifically about the topic area that you're interested in. And part of that is building up a bit more of a comprehensive list of keywords that you can use in order to search for a relevant journal. So with that in mind, the first thing you should do when you come into Discover when looking for journals, in my opinion, is to click Advanced Search. So the Advanced Search screen looks a little bit complicated, but it's really nothing to be scared of. Essentially, all you have here at the top is you have 3 search boxes, the same as what you had on the front page. To the right of each of the search boxes, you can select which field you'd like to search in. So for instance, if you're looking for a particular author, if you're looking for, you want the word or the keyword to be specifically in the title, you can select that. But you can also just leave it on all text and it will look everywhere. It will look in the abstract, whatever information it has, it will search through it. Another interesting feature with the advanced search is you can actually exclude search terms by building up a more complex search query. So for instance, today we're going to have a look for a journal article that is about goal setting in relation to academic achievement. So what we're interested in here, what we want to find is a journal article that will essentially have an experiment or have a study or maybe a review, maybe a literature review or a systematic review of all the research about people setting goals and how that impacts their academic achievement. So the way we might want to do that is we might want to put in this first box goals. You could also put goal setting. I think we'll stick with goals. The next thing I said was academic achievement, so we want goals and academic achievement. Now the reason it's important to keep these separate is that if we put these both, I'll just take that out of there and pop it in there. If we put these both in the same box, it may be that Discover looks at that as one big phrase and it tries to look for combinations of those 3 words in its results. By taking the academic achievement out of there and popping it in there, what we're saying to Discover is, yes, we want goals and we want academic achievement, but they're not the same thing and they're not necessarily going to be right next to each other. So it might be that we have in the title it says academic achievement, but in the abstract somewhere it talks about goal setting or goals. Now I'm trying to think of an example of what else we could put in here, and I was thinking, well, goals might be related to setting. It might be related to scoring goals in football. That's maybe a little bit of a silly example, but I want to highlight this feature. You can actually, in these drop boxes to the left hand side of the keyword box, you can select and, or not. Not is probably the one that you're wanting to use more often. So we'll select not, and for instance what we'll say is football. Now again, this is a bit of a silly example. I don't imagine that football results would come up, but because goals could also be associated with football, we may want to exclude the football results because we're not interested in those. We're only interested in ones related to academic achievement. I'll give you another example of where this might be important. In psychological arousal, you may have papers that come up, say for instance you're writing a report, something to do with psychological arousal, you may have a keyword of arousal, but you may only be interested in the psychological aspects or the physiological aspects of psychological arousal. So for instance, if you are on a roller coaster, you know your heart rate increases and your nervous system responds in such a way, sort of like a fight or flight response. What you're not talking about in that particular example is anything to do with sexual arousal, which is a slightly different side of arousal. So what you might have in one of your keywords is the keyword arousal, but then you might say not sexual arousal. Okay? So you just arousal, one keyword, and then not sexual. So what you're doing there is you're excluding a lot of literature that you're really just not interested in, and you know you're not interested in. So this is a really powerful tool. And the reason I've taken you straight here is because if you just type in one keyword in the basic search, you're going to waste a lot of time sifting through stuff that you just do not need to look at. So let's have a look then what we find. What we'll do is I'll quickly just show you over the search options here. Just quickly show you the search options. Generally speaking, you won't touch anything here. You'll just ask it to find all of your search terms. Now with journal articles, what we have is imagine it like two separate boxes. We have a box of journal articles where all we can see is the title and the abstract, and then we have another box of journal articles where we can see everything. We can read the full thing. Now, for the purposes of this search, I think it would be important that we select the full text button. Now, as years go on, the library increases the amount of journals that it subscribes to, and we're always, subscribing to new journals. So the full text library for journal articles has increased year on year. So the chances are you'll find something that's full text. If on the odd chance you don't find something that's full text that's relevant, try unticking that box and seeing what else comes up. You may not be able to access the full journal article, but you could always ask somebody in the library to help you out with that. Alternatively, you could ask your tutor. They may be able to locate it for you. There are some other options here as well. You can specify authors and titles similar to the options above, journal name. You can restrict the publishing date. Now this can be important if you've got a essay title that says, for instance, discuss classical conditioning, but only use articles between 2000 and 2010. That sometimes happens in essay questions. If it does, you can restrict the publishing date, the published dates here, so that you're only going to see stuff that you can actually use in your essay. So from here, we're going to go ahead and click the search button. And what we'll find, because we've got very specific search terms, the chances of getting books as a high rank in our search is quite low, because the chances of a book being called anything to do with goals and academic achievement is very, very slim. We've also requested full text only, so it would only give us ebooks, or it would give us journals that have access to full text. It's not going to show us any print books in the library. So our search results are relatively straightforward. The first thing you get is the title. So for instance, this one here, number 1, the relationships among students' achievement goals, willingness to report academic dishonesty, and engaging in academic dishonesty. Now for our particular search term, we're not really interested in academic dishonesty. We're more interested in whether, if you set your goals, do you achieve your goals in academia? Okay, so if you say at the beginning, for my next essay, I'm going to read 10 journals, and does that actually help with the outcome of the essay that you write? So that one probably isn't that relevant, but it does have the keywords in the title, and that's why it's come up. So let's keep looking down. Longitudinal investigation into the role of perceived social support in adolescents' academic motivation and achievement. Maybe this might be relevant. Let's keep looking. That's a questionnaire. So somebody's developed a questionnaire here for Thai college students and Asian context. So that's probably not that relevant either. A study of motivational influences on academic achievement, maybe, but it doesn't really talk about goals, does it, specifically, and goal setting, so maybe not. Let's have a look. Achievement goals, emotions, learning, and performance, a process model, maybe. So what you can do whilst you're looking through these is you can actually click on them and you can have a look. So for instance, the one that I said we weren't too sure about here, social support, we have a number of options, and I'll just quickly highlight them to you now. You can click on the title, and much like a book, you get all the information. So you get the authors, you get which journal it was published in. So this is the Journal of Education Psychology, volume 107, issue 3, and that was published in August 2015, so just in the summer. And this is a common misconception, and this is something I want to try and explain to you now. Think of a journal as a magazine. Okay, so think of it like Vogue or something like that, but obviously a little bit more academic, or a lot more academic. And with a magazine, it's published sort of every month, I think, mostly with magazines that you get in the shops. But with journals, it's usually 4 times a year, 3 or 4 times a year maybe. So inside a journal, you have lots of articles like you would have in a magazine. So the journal title and then the journal article are 2 different things. Okay? So the journal article title is this one here, Longitudinal Investigation into the Role of Perceived Social Support in Adolescents' Academic Motivation and Achievement. And that is inside the Journal of Educational Psychology. Okay? So remember that, because I hear very often a lot of students get confused by journal and journal article and the titles that go with them. Okay, so bear that in mind. So you have all the information there that you need to write your reference, and you also have the abstract. Now, when you come to write your research methods reports, you'll be writing abstracts yourself. So read abstracts, read them. It's important to understand what goes in them. They're all very slightly different, but read them nonetheless. So what we have here is a brief overview of what this paper contains. If that abstract looks good and we think there might be some more important information inside this journal article, we have a couple of options of how to get access to it. And again, like with the ebooks, we can head over to the left hand side here, and we have 2 options with this particular one. We can look at a full HTML version, or we can look at the PDF version. Whichever one you choose is up to you. I'll click the HTML version to show you, and here we go. I find the HTML versions can be a bit messy. They do have quick navigation here on the left hand side, so keep an eye out for that. I'm not a fan of reading them this way though, I must be honest. But as we scroll down, we can see, and they got the pictures and stuff like that. They also have a full PDF version, which if you click on, again, it brings it up, just looks like a PDF. You can print it and save it. And it's not like an ebook. Journal articles don't have a date restriction on them, like the ebooks do. But I prefer to read things this way. This suits me a lot better. So let's head back to our results list by clicking on this link in the top left-hand corner. And let's see if we can't find something that suits us. Let's have a look. Let's keep scrolling down. So sometimes you can spend quite a while scrolling through until you find something that may or may not be suitable. What's this one here? So this is a review. So the good thing about a review is that it tries to cover a lot of existing research. We have full text, we have a linked full text, which is important. I'll show you what that means in a second. It says achievement goals and academic achievement. I mean, that's our keywords pretty much in a nutshell, isn't it? A closer look at moderating factors. That basically means what other factors are involved. So that's interesting. So with all of these, if you can't be bothered to click through to that and read the abstract first, you can just click straight through to the full text. So we'll do that with this one. We'll click linked full text. Okay, so what it's done is actually opened up the Science Direct website inside of Discover, okay? And there are a number of different journal providers that are kind of third party, as in we have journal articles that are hosted on different websites and we subscribe to them and we have access to them. And in this instance, we're on Science Direct. There are others out there. You just have to kind of get used to looking for, say for instance, you want to download the PDF. You have to get used to just looking for the PDF logo and where it says download PDF. If you click on that, it will open it up in a new page, and there's your PDF document, and you can read through that. Okay. And this looks like quite a big paper, which is good. That means it probably contains lots of information. We can look, it's got some nice overview here about goals and academic achievement and how the outcomes are measured. Results from previous studies. This could be a very, very good paper if you were interested in writing something about this topic. Let's have a look what they say in the abstract quickly. You can have a quick skim through that. So there's a significant association between goals and outcomes, which is interesting. And it talks about moderation. So what other effects impact whether you're going to achieve your goals and things like that. So as you can see, just very quickly, with a couple of keywords, a little bit of reading, we've already got some really good information that could be used in an essay. So I'm just going to close this down now. And it brings us back to this website. I'm going to click the little blue black back link there. And that should take us back to our search results. So a few other things I want to show you quickly before I end this video are limiters and expanders in search results. So say you conduct a search and you just are really not finding stuff that's relevant, or all you're getting is books or ebooks or paper articles or something like that. What you need to be able to do is filter down your results so that you're only seeing the things you really want to see. And the first thing that you should probably do if you're specifically looking for journal articles is restrict it by journal article. Okay, so on the left hand side here we have our refine results section. So we've got limit to, we already selected full text. We only really want to see things that are available to us, so we have that box ticked. The date range I'll come back to in just a second. Here, source type. So we're not really interested in magazines or news or any books or anything like that. We're interested in academic journals, so we can tick that box. And that will drop our results down from around 1 million to 787,000. And as we scroll down, we can look in these different options by clicking on them. So we open this up, subject. Well, there's a specific one here, academic achievement. We have one for education. I dare bet if we clicked show more, we have, there we go. It's on the first page there if I scroll down. Psychology. So you can select specific subject areas. Again, you might be searching for something, you might be getting only medical results, or you might only be getting sociology results. Okay? That might not be very helpful to you. Some might be very useful, but some might not be very helpful. So you might want to filter it down to only looking at psychology, or in this case education would probably be a good suggestion. And you can see we're dropping from 700 odd thousand down to 30,000. We're narrowing it down, we're becoming more niche. Now another important thing with research as a whole, not so much with essays but particularly with research, is that you always want to be using the most up-to-date research within reason. You know, the last 15 maybe 20 years worth of research is what you need to be interested in. If we look at our date here, we can see that the earliest article that it's found is from 1876. That's probably a little bit old. Now, it might have some interesting information. It might be able to give you a bit of historical context. However, for the purposes of certain assignments, it may be better to look at more modern publications. So what you can do is you can use these sliders here just to slide it up. So we'll go up through the 1900s, bring it up a bit. Let's go from 1985 to 2016. So again, that'll update our results. We were at 700,000. We've now dropped down, well, not that many. So not many were actually published before 1985, which is interesting in itself. We could even maybe bring that up a little bit more. Let's bring it up to, let's do 10 years. So 2005 to 2016. We're still in 2015 at the minute. Oh, there we go. We've dropped down now to 471,000. So these date limiters are very, very handy. Now, let's say you accidentally put a date limiter on of only things that were published in 2015, 2016. And you think, oh gosh, I really shouldn't have done that. Whoops, I really need to see more than that. I've only got 21,000 results now. That's not enough. You need to actually delete that from your refining search, okay? And every limiter that you put on here will be displayed under the current search tab, okay? And you'll see a bunch of red crosses on the right hand side. So where it says date published, we can see there 2015 to 2016. Whoops, we made a mistake with that one. We click the red X and away it goes. So now we're back to an unrestricted date range. We can see down here we've gone back to 1876 to 2016. And with a little bit of playing around and a little bit of exploration on your own, you'll find new ways to search efficiently for yourself. But like the previous video, and like I said earlier, keywords are the key. Forgive the repetition of the word key there, but the keywords are so vitally important. If you pick the right keywords, you will get very good results. If you find you're entering keywords in and you're not getting the right results, you need to just go back and rethink your keywords. If we click back on this article here, there's one more thing that I'd like to show you, and that is adding something to a folder. So I mentioned at the beginning you should sign up to Discover and log in whenever you use it, and then you can save the articles that you find into a folder, and from there you'll be able to easily access them when you come to write an essay or report or whatever. So it's dead easy to do this. Once you're signed in, all you need to do, you click on the title of the article, which I've done here, and then you click on the add to folder link over here on the right hand side. Okay, and it drops it in a folder. You can then go into your folders and you can organize them from there, and it's that easy. So that is how you search for journals using the university's Discover system. We also talked about how you can refine your search using the left hand side bar. And we spoke a little bit about using the Discover system to organize the papers that you find that are relevant. We also saw how we can access full text PDF documents both locally in Discover and also remotely using services like Science Direct. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon.